My name is Janine Ye, and I am the Recruiting and Events Coordinator for SuccessWorks. Amy, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Janine. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Yang. I'm one of the career and internship specialists within SuccessWorks, and then I serve specifically LNS students want to go into technology and data. And then Noel, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Noelle, she's somewhere. I know she's in here. Oh.
Okay, looks like maybe Noelle is having audio issues, so it won't work. But yeah, Noelle Thompson is the Assistant Director in CALS for Career Services, and she's also here to join us to answer questions that you all might have that you will be posting in the chat box. And so thanks, Noelle. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Noelle. All right, and then I will say this, for most of you, this will be the third time you're hearing it, but for everyone who is just joining us, as we're starting this, if you would not mind just filling out this quick little Qualtrics survey. It's just your email and student ID. We'll just have some follow-up resources for you after the workshop today. Perfect. Thanks, everyone. So quickly, here's just an overview of our agenda for the day. We will just quickly talk about Handshake for those who may not be as familiar with it. We'll do an overview of career focus weeks because fairs and everything look very different than usual. So we've kind of structured everything a little bit differently this year. We'll talk about what to do before the fair, what to do during and after the fair, and show you what that will look like. And then at the end, we'll just talk about some upcoming opportunities for LNS and for CAL students. And then we'll try to leave about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for you all if you have any questions that you weren't able to get answered during the presentation.
Great, and just a little side notes about interactions of how you will be interacting in this presentation today. So of course, questions are welcome. Feel free to either raise your hand and use the chat box on the right side and to put any questions you might have. For video, of course, we would love to see your faces, but also understand that there could be bandwidth issues with internet connection. And so if you don't want to use your video, please feel free to disable it. We will also be sending or giving out a link to the handout that Janine sort of alluded to during the beginning of our presentation. It's going to kind of go through some of the resources that we are going through in today's presentation, so you could actually see it on a Google Doc. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, please mute your microphone unless you are speaking in today's presentation. And then last but not least, with additional things when it comes to interacting in this presentation, you will see throughout this presentation that there might be a poll that we will be doing. So if you see that little kind of like Pac-Man, blue Pac-Man, or like a pie that's kind of eaten, that will be the poll for the symbol. And then for the chat box, we might also ask you all to engage by answering questions in the chat box with that red arrow symbol. So to get us actually started, Janine is going to put in a poll for today to ask you a little bit more about how you all heard about this workshop. And so feel free to put in your response. Was it through email, social media, SuccessWorks website, or was it through an advisor, faculty, the department that you're in, or did you hear it from friends, family, or a peer? Awesome, and it looks like everyone is quickly responding, so thank you for participating in this. That's great. Then we'll give you a couple more seconds, and then Janine's going to close the poll. Great. It looks, oh, okay. Few more. There we go. Awesome. So it looks like most of you all heard about this workshop through either email, social media, or the SuccessWorks website, so that's fantastic. And then there were a few who heard about us through word of mouth, either through friends, family, advisor, all of that. So that's awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. This is exciting. Okay. So what exactly is SuccessWorks? Some of you all might be familiar with our office, some of you might not be, and so we wanted to just quickly give an overview before we dive deep to talk about the tech of how to navigate Handshake for the virtual career fair. SuccessWorks is the career center for personal and professional development within the College of Letters and Science for LNS students and recent graduates. So we do anything from one-on-one advising about resume, cover letter writing, helping you all search internships and jobs. If you're thinking about graduate school, not quite sure, we also have conversations about that during our advising appointments. We also connect students with employers and alumni. We have courses that you all can take that's career development focused, so InterLS 210 and 215. We also do a lot of events and workshops specific to career preparation and career development for you all. Awesome, moving on. And of course, we have to talk about Handshake because some of you all might use Handshake, some of you all might have not used your Handshake or heard of Handshake before. And so I'm going to do a quick overview. Handshake, in a nutshell, I would say is it's a way for you to find opportunities, internships, and jobs, and employers will be posting on there. And so it looks like Janine also put up a poll. We just want to get a little bit more understanding to know how familiar you are with Handshake. Help us before we actually dive into the material. Great. And as I'm seeing on my screen, you are still taking the poll, so that's great. And then Janine can wrap it up in a few seconds. But it looks like so far, most of you have used Handshake a little bit and know a little bit about Handshake, so that's awesome. Because for sure, in order to attend the virtual career fairs, you will have to use Handshake. So great, we'll chat a little bit more about that shortly. And I'm going to pass it on to Janine to talk about our focus weeks.
Awesome. Yeah. So I mentioned earlier that we have what we're calling career focus weeks. So you can see the first one, social impact, is actually going to start next week. So just briefly, each of these will have a fair that will happen during the week, and then there will be a few other kind of career development, professional development things happening there, some group advising, some opportunities to do informational interviews, some mock interview opportunities as well. And so I'm going to put in the resource guide right now because on this guide, we will have linked all of the links to the fairs to sign up and register for those, links to those alumni informational interviews, links for mock interviews, and then for those who are not in Letters and Science, we'll also have a little links to those so you can find some other opportunities as well to prep for the career fairs. All right, and now we're gonna dive right into the content. So I'm just gonna quickly go through just a few things to know for the fair, and then I will hop into Handshake and share my screen and kind of show you all what that will look like. So before you even attend the fair, step one, update your Handshake profile. Make sure that all of your information, your year in school, your graduation date is correct. Make sure you've got a resume up in there. That your profile is what employers in Handshake will be seeing and what they'll be using when you meet with them. So the information you have in there, the better. This semester, you do need to register for a career fair. I know in the past, most of the time you could just show up for a fair. This year, you do need to register in advance. But like any fair, you do need to research the employers attending. As always, there's little blurs about each employer in Handshake in the fair. So feel free to just take a look through those. And then this semester, you also need to sign up for group and one-on-one sessions with employers. So these sessions will be the only way that you'll be able to communicate with employers. There won't be some like general landing page or some sort of virtual lobby. Group and one-on-one sessions will be the only way to interact with employers. And so I'm going to switch over to Handshake very quickly just to show you what this looks like. If you have questions as we're going along, by the way, feel free to put those in the chat and we will try to get those answered for you. right. 1 second here, team. All right. Here we go. All right, so this is your Handshake homepage from that poll that we did earlier. It seems like most of you have at least logged into Handshake, so hopefully this looks pretty familiar to you. I'm going to just quickly start with my profile. Kind of banking on my internet. Yes, so when I say update your profile, it's this section. You can just always click on the little pencil there, and you can update your school year to hit save. And then over here under education, you can update the time period that you will be attending UW-Madison. So for example, I'm apparently going to be here for 7 years. That's fine. And then you can just hit save. And then the more you can fill out on your profile, work and volunteer experience, organizations, your interests, those kind of things, the more you can fill out, the better to give the employer the most information. And then all the way at the bottom is where you can upload documents. You can upload a resume, you can upload a cover letter if you really wanted to, and you can just go into manage documents, upload a resume from there for employers to be able to see. So that is very quickly an overview of my profile and what you need to do there to be ready for the fair. And now I will just very quickly kind of walk through what it looks like to register for the fair. So you can see you go into events, you'll just go to career fair. I'm going to register today for the public service fair. That's happening next week. So you'll just see up here this blue register button. You do need to click this. Like I said, you do need to actually register for the fair. So I'm registered, hooray. I am then going to go view employer sessions. And so this is the page, and this is the time where you will sign up with employers to either meet with them one-on-one or to meet with them in a group session. So you can just scroll down, you can read a little bit about the employers. You then also sign up for group sessions or one-on-one sessions with them. And that is everything that you'll need to do before the fair even begins. So you can register for the fair pretty much at any time up until the fair actually ends. But we really recommend getting in and registering for sessions in advance just to make sure that you have a slot. And you can register for sessions up until 1 minute before they begin. So for example, Appalachia Service Project has a session that starts at 6. You could register for this session until 5:59 p.m. But once that 6 o'clock hits, you will not be able to register for a session. I hear lots of questions coming in, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, pop back over here just to make sure that we're getting all of the questions answered before we go anywhere.
Hey, Janine, I'm not sure about the amount of people in a group session. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so there can be up to 50 people in a group session, and that will include the recruiters. So if there's like one recruiter, there can be 49 students and kind of so on and so forth. Great question, though. All right. With that in mind, we're gonna move on to have Amy talk a little bit about what will happen during the fair.
Thanks, Janine. Yeah, I'm going to cover what to do during and after the fair, but before I dive in, I'm just going to also again put in the link to get attendance, and then we also want to make sure that we will be sending information, so the Google Google document that we'll be sending to you all, so that you will get it, because I know that there's been additional folks who just recently joined this workshop. So I'm going to put that in there. Okay. Looping back to what to do during and after the fair. And so, as Janine shared, there will be one-on-one sessions with an employer and a group session with an employer, depending on who you register to connect with. For the group sessions, as Janine said, there will be up to 50 individuals who could be a part of that group session, but then the recruiter will be one person, so about probably 49 students, or 48 if there's 2 recruiters in that session, but expect that. For one-on-one sessions, of course, it'll be you and probably the recruiter in that one-on-one session. Know that for one-on-one session, you will be able to use your camera, use your audio, and also use the chat box. For the group session, however, because it's going to be a bigger group setting, Handshake has disabled your video and also audio. So the only way you're able to actually interact with the employer is going to be through the chat box. And so know that those are the differences. Another part to know, and I think I saw it as one of the questions, and I haven't gotten a chance to take a look to see if Noel responded yet, and so sorry, Noel, if you responded already. But for the what was I going to say? The question asked something along the lines of how, I believe, like how many sessions can you potentially sign up for, or are there going to be more sessions opening up? So right now we have been encouraging employers to put up their sessions. And so if you see for the computer science career fair, for example, that the sessions have not opened up, you just have to continue to monitor it. As we get closer to these career fairs, employers will definitely start to open up some of their sessions. So just stay tuned for that. Other things to note, for the one-on-one sessions with an employer, you want to make sure, or it's actually set up in Handshake that you can only talk to one employer one time for a one-on-one session. So that means that if the employer has multiple slots, Capital One, for example, you can't actually select more than one one-on-one slot with that employer. You can do a one-on-one session and a group session with Capital One, for example, if they offer that, but you can't meet with them more than once for a one-on-one session. But if you wanted to meet with Capital One, Google, IBM, for example, you can meet with them for a one-on-one meeting because they're separate employers. Okay. Of course, there's probably going to be potentially, this is unfortunate, but potentially technical issues that might happen during the virtual career fair because everything's going to be online. And if that's the case, I'm just going to go over some of the quick tips when it comes to how to navigate some of those technical issues. Within the Google Doc that Janine has shared, it goes more in depth, or it gives like actual hyperlinks to some of the things that I'm going to be talking about, and additional details too that I might not necessarily cover. So I would encourage you all to take a look at those links. Okay, so how to report a technical issue. Handshake is suggesting that when you meet with an employer, either during a one-on-one session or a group session, if there is technical difficulty or technical issues, there will be a little box that you can click on that says settings, and you can actually report a problem that you're experiencing. And when you click on that link, it's gonna then have a little pop-up that says report technical issue. Is it audio issue, video issue, chat issue, or other? And if you click on other, it would then, you could put like additional description into that box to say what exactly is a technical issue. When Handshake receives it on their end, they have their own team and they're going to try to fix that problem as soon as possible. So make sure you do that if you're experiencing issues. Other recommendations Handshake has to prevent any technical issues is you want to make sure that you use specifically, I believe it was Chrome, I'm just going to look, yep, Chrome and Firefox for the 2 browsers that you should be using. Safari may potentially have audio issues, and so they recommend to just use Chrome or Firefox. Additional things that you should think about if you have multiple tabs opened that day when you attend the virtual career fair. Handshake is suggesting you to make sure that you don't have multiple tabs opened up because that could potentially mess with the bandwidth, who knows, or the internet connection issues. So make sure you minimize the number of tabs that you have on your browser. Great. And then after the fair, we're encouraging all students to continue checking their Handshake, because employers will very likely follow up through Handshake when they've connected with the student, and if they're interested, they will potentially reach out. So just make sure you monitor that closely. Great. Okay, so we said a lot of things, and we're going to do a quick check-in to just do a poll to know more about how you are feeling about navigating the virtual career fair. So I have a better understanding of how to navigate the technology of Handshake for the virtual career fairs. Strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. Give you all a few seconds to take the poll. Awesome. And then I think, Janine, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and close the poll. Great. So it looks like most of you agree that you have a better understanding of how to navigate the tech side of Handshake for the virtual career fair. And of course, there's probably, I know we went through a lot of this really quickly with the given time that we have for this presentation today. We're going to, at the end, we're going to leave a little time for you all to ask any additional questions to help you all feel more comfortable about how to navigate the tech of Handshake for the virtual career fairs. For upcoming opportunities then for SuccessWorks, we have group revising for career focus weeks, and what essentially this means is each of the week the advisors will be having a group session where we will be answering questions, and we're going to go over additional information about how to prepare for the virtual career fair. So today, as you all may be aware, we only went through the technology of Handshake. We didn't go through elevator pitch or how to connect with an employer after a career fair. Most of that information will probably be going over during the group advising session. And so if you're interested, I would encourage you all to attend that. And information about that is in the Google Doc. If you are like, oh, I need someone to review my resume, I just have quick questions. This semester for SuccessWorks, we're offering 15-minute advising appointments for students where on the day of, if you're like, I need to talk to someone ASAP, or as soon as possible, you want to make sure you use our service, 15-minute advising appointments. But of course, if you wanted to connect with an advisor, we're also still offering 30-minute advising appointments with advisors. Aside from that, additional opportunities for you all to consider are alumni informational interviews. So we have an event called Ask an Alum, where Mike Cruz, who's our alumni relations coordinator, is setting up an event where he's going to have a ton of alumni within that industry for that focus week. So I'm speaking more so to the technology and data focus week because I'm the advisor for it, so I know a lot of the events that are happening. The last I looked, I think there was a good, like probably at least more than 20 alumni who are coming to this Ask an Alumni event, and I think one of them actually they work at Google. So I would encourage you all to take a look at that and take advantage of it, especially if you're kind of exploring different areas within that particular industry. And then we're, of course, having mock interviews. I know for the Tech and Data Week and the Business Week, we have employer mock interviews where employers will be giving practice interviews. And so take a look at the Google Doc for more information if you're interested. If you're not a student within the College of Letters and Science, we highly encourage you all to check out your Career Center so that you can be aware of the opportunities that are within your college or school. Okay, and then Noel, feel free to take it away with this slide for our CALs.
So hi everyone, for CALs we have a couple of opportunities available. So you can make an appointment with myself or Christina Vack by going into your Starfish page on MyUW and choosing either Christina or Noel. We also will be having 15-minute resume drop-ins for the fairs at the dates listed on the screen. You will also have the opportunity to do a drop-in appointment with our graduate intern named Kate McCrory. She's actually a recent graduate of UW. She graduated in May, so she'll give you all sorts of nice tips for how to make your resume polished and presentable for you to get that dream internship or job that you want.
Great, thanks, Noel. All right, and so here's where if you all did not get a chance to ask your question, I think now is definitely the chance to do so. And we'll just leave it up to questions. We'll answer them as we see them. And then while you are putting questions in, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy and paste another additional survey that we have. We would love to hear your feedback, just to know how we did for the presentation and how we can improve for the future. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that link into our chat box now. And please take it so we can know feedback about future changes that we might need to take.
Okay, so we've got a few questions about handing in your resume. So that is where you will need to upload it to your profile on Handshake. Yep, Noelle's already on it. Put it there. And then group sessions will essentially just be like a virtual info session. We just got a question on like what will those look like. So I believe Amy mentioned you won't be able to use your video or audio for those. So it'll just kind of be you asking questions in the chat box. The employer recruiter will most likely just be presenting on their various opportunities, and you'll just essentially be listening. All right, so we've got a few questions about accessing some of the Ask Alumni events or the group advising, so I will quickly paste some links in here so that you all are able to find those and get into those as well.
I have a number of some specific SuccessWorks questions, specifically something about the Google Doc and then the group advising. I can't answer those questions.
Yeah, no problem. Yep, so for group advising, if you're looking for that, it's going to show up if you just in events on Handshake search for Ask an Advisor. We have a bunch of links because we're doing one for each of the career fair weeks. So the one that's coming up next week is Ask an Advisor for Social Impact Week. But if you just search for those on Handshake under Ask an Advisor, you'll be able to find those. I don't want to link every single one, and it'll be the same for like Ask an Alum. We have one for each of the career focus weeks, so you can just search for Ask an Alum and all of the ones that we have available will show up. Thanks, Brandon, for getting the link for us. Much faster than I can because my internet has decided to give out on me.
Awesome. I'm just continuing to look at the chat box, and I think we have a question. Will SuccessWorks have group revising sessions, or do we need to make an individual appointment? So for that, Janine touched on how to find the group revising sessions. It's on Handshake. If you wanted to make an individual appointment to speak to an advisor, you can definitely do that. Or if you just had quick questions about your resume or quick questions about how to prepare for the career fair, we are also offering 15-minute advising appointments for the day of. And so if you wanted to connect with anyone today, for example, you can take a look at our website. It's under like making an appointment, and then it's same day advising, and you should be able to find that there's availability for that. And then I think another question says, can we talk with the employers in the one-on-one session? Yes, you definitely can. So for the one-on-one session, it will be similar to how when you go to when we had the career fair in person, you will go up to the employer and do your elevator pitch or give your elevator pitch. It's going to be very similar to that during a one-on-one session. And probably the group advising for students within College of Letters and Science that we'll be doing will be covering some of that too. So stay tuned. And then yes, there was one question about whether or not this is being recorded. This presentation was recorded and is being recorded. We'll be putting this recording onto our website later sometime, either today or next week, so just stay tuned. Oh, awesome, Noah, I just saw that you answered the question. And then another question is, should we be dressing up for this career fair like it's a normal interview? And then Noel says, dress comfortable and how you want to represent yourself. Yep.
Okay, so it looks like I think we've gotten through all the questions, but if anyone has any last questions, feel free to put those in the chat. We're only like 2 minutes over. Okay, I don't see any final questions. Oh, is there a way to filter on Handshake for the time of the internship? Yes, I am. There isn't necessarily. I was going to pull up my Handshake to try and show you all, but unfortunately, my internet is giving me a little bit of an issue right now. So unfortunately, there's not a way to filter on Handshake for the time of the internship. I would say mostly just know that if they're recruiting for an internship now, it's mostly going to be for summer of 2021. So that's generally how employers recruit. They start recruiting in the fall for their summer 2021 internships. Perfect. Noelle is answering all of our questions for us. Yep. Yeah, we will be emailing out this recording to all students who attended. So that's why we've got a survey that we asked you all to do just to give your email, but I will put that in one last time. If you haven't filled out the survey to give us your email, please do so now, because that is the email we'll use to send out the recording of this and kind of more information. Yep, so yeah, we've got the question, these events are the best opportunity to start looking at for internships for spring and summer. Yep, I would definitely say that is the case, that it's very common, again, for employers to be recruiting for their summer internships and their spring internships right now, and especially because we're in the middle of a pandemic. If they're at this career fair, at any of these career fairs, you can pretty much be sure that they are actually hiring for something. Yep, and yes, Isabel asked, are employers also looking for full-time jobs starting in the summer? Yes, there are plenty of full-time opportunities that employers will be posting. And again, if they're at this fair, it definitely means they're hiring. There's a range of full-time and internship opportunities that employers will be posting. And so we are at about 6 minutes over right now. So with that in mind, we are gonna end this session for today, just kind of respect everyone's time. Don't want to go over too much. Thank you all again for joining us today. Like I said earlier, we will be sending out a follow-up email with the recording to this video. I will post the resource guide in here once more for everyone who is still here. That'll have upcoming opportunities, your technical troubleshooting stuff, as well as all of the links to register for all of the fairs that will be happening this fall. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending.